If you had to bet on it, Joe, John Jones, Brock Lesnar, the fight's happening, huh?
Boy, I hope so. Benching is up. They announced John Jones versus Brock Lesnar.
Oh, man. Love it. I love it. I mean, look at their body types and look at what they are and where they...
Joe Rogan has completely forsaken Tom Aspinall versus John Jones and is now after a new fight, John Jones versus Brock Lesnar. That's right, the GOAT versus the Beast Incarnate. Rogan's all in on this fantasy matchup, calling it the ultimate clash of power, skill, and legacy. It's not just a spectacle, it's the chaos the fight world craves. And with Rogan pushing for it, the buzz is louder than ever.
You ever see his NFL combine numbers? He had like legit top flight combine numbers, like ridiculous numbers. 6'3", weighs 283 pounds, a 40-yard dash of 4'7". 4'7" at 283 pounds.
That's insane.
Jumped 35 inches vertically and 10 feet from the standing long jump. 10 feet. He's hurling He's hurling almost 300 pounds, 10 feet. He can bench 225 pounds for 30 reps. 225 for 30 reps.
That's crazy.
Dude.
John Jones fight.
That should be exciting. What do you think about that fight?
Was champ way back when that, I think John Jones would be a lot tougher fight for John Jones than some of the big hard-hitting guys that can't wrestle very well. Probably not as well as John Jones. So it's going to be, I think it's in.
Joe Rogan clearly sees John Jones as the one who would win in a fight against Brock Lesnar, and not just because of raw talent, but because of the way Jones breaks his opponents down piece by piece. He talked about how Jones uses small, overlooked moments in a fight, like when a guy's trying to stand up to land a vicious kick or sneak in an elbow. It's not just skill, it's strategy. Rogan points out how Jones uses techniques like wrist control and limb destruction, stuff that's almost old school but brutally effective.
When you're fighting a guy like that.
Well, how about John Jones' use of you grab his wrist and he comes over the top with an elbow?
Yeah.
I mean, that is hand trapping.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
I mean, it really is what it is.
Or when he levered to Shera.
Oh, yeah.
That's limb destruction.
Yep.
That's old school limb destruction.
Yeah.
How and why that hasn't been rabbit holed a lot more. Although you do start to see that in that moment where I get to 4 points and I'm going to stand up, and you just kind of decide, okay, that's all right, we'll get back to the fence. In that process of standing up, a lot of guys throw a fight finishing kick there, or just at least take that chance to smash your leg with one. There's free shots that exist in these moments, and John Jones is a master of.
He also highlights how Jones is always a step ahead, finding free shots in positions other fighters don't even notice. That kind of awareness can overwhelm someone like Brock, who relies more on size and explosiveness. Even with all of Jones's issues outside the cage, Rogan believes that none of that matters when the octagon door closes. Jones knows how to win, and he knows how to do it against the biggest, scariest guys out there. That's why Joe backs him. He's not just fighting, he's calculating. Joe Rogan might break things down like a seasoned fight analyst, but even beneath all that talk, it's clear he wants to see this fight happen. He sees the chaos, the brilliance, the danger in Jones, and still believes a Jones versus Lesnar showdown would be something special. And guess what? So does John.
Jones
Brock Lesnar. If you want to know what it feels like to get your ass kicked by a guy who weighs 40 pounds less than you, meet me in the octagon.
Even after all these years and everything he's achieved, John still has Brock Lesnar in his mind as a dream opponent. He knows Brock might not be the most technical guy, but size, power, fan base, Brock's a giant in every way, and John sees that clash as a modern-day David versus Goliath. He gets the hype, the business, the buzz. It's not just about violence, it's about legacy, money, and making history. For John, this wasn't just about proving he could beat a bigger man. It was about doing something massive for himself, his family, and his team. And the way he talks about it, you can tell that fire's still there.
If you could fight anybody, ever, who would your ultimate fantasy fight be?
I think fighting Brock Lesnar would have been really cool. Brock isn't the most technical guy, but he has a massive fan base. He's a lot bigger than me, and it would have been one of those really cool kind of David and Goliath situations. It would have been really cool for cross-sport promoting, and I think we both would have done great things for our family and for our team. Financially, that would have been massive.
I would watch that. That'd be a good fight.
It's not. Never say never. Brock, if you're out there.
That's true.
And it's not just John who sees Brock as a monster worth clashing with. Even outside the UFC cage, Brock Lesnar's reputation as a brutal force follows him right into the wrestling ring. Roman Reigns, who's shared the spotlight and the ring with Brock for years, once admitted how tough it is to work with the guy. Not because of personality clashes, but because of sheer physicality. As Roman put it, he picks you up and throws you on your head. There's nothing nice about that. And that's the thing, Brock doesn't dial it down, whether it's WWE or UFC. Roman called him the alpha male of our species, and honestly, it's hard to argue with that. He's not just a showman or an athlete, he's a force, a wild one, the kind you don't just face, you survive.
I've seen videos of Brock wrestling and going really hard sometimes too hard. Is he hard to work with?
Yeah, he's Brock Lesnar, man. He picks you up and throws you on your head. There's nothing nice about that. Yeah, it's very tough to work with.
I
with
want
a human being like that some call him like the alpha male of our species. It's true. He really is what he is.
I think he was a UFC champ at one point.
Yep.
I don't know if he defended his belt. Excuse me, Brock. I'd love to have you on the show one day.
Has
Has it ever
sucks,
been
man.
too rough and gotten too real?
No, because I mean, if it's gotten too real, then the performance gets screwed up. But at the same time, my main thing is if you mess my jaw up, I'm not eating good after. But if you hit me,
That's exactly why John Jones still wants him, because deep down, John's not just chasing belts, he's chasing beasts. He's wired to test himself against the toughest, most intimidating figures out there. And when someone like Roman Reigns admits it's hard to handle Brock inside the ring, where things are somewhat controlled, just imagine the kind of raw, unpredictable chaos that would erupt if Brock ever stepped into the cage with John Jones. While John Jones often talks about those huge potential matchups, like going after Brock Lesnar, or even stepping back into the cage with Daniel Cormier, the reality on the ground is a bit different. DC, who was once John's fiercest rival, has made it clear he's done with fighting. At 46 years old, Daniel Cormier has said he's retired for good, no longer interested in revisiting old battles or proving anything inside the cage. He's moved on from the fight game and seems content with the legacy he's built.
But I'm 46 years old now. It's easier to start talking about, well, I would have did this, and the other one. There's nothing that can be done about it. I'm not fighting anymore. I'm not a fighter. And hell, you won 2 fights. I don't know what the point to prove is by talking about what goes on between you and I. We have seen this story. We've had good fights. It was a great rivalry. I enjoyed it. It made me a boatload of money. It was good. But that was 7 years ago. 8 years ago was the last time we fought.
Meanwhile, there's another fighter who's actually waiting in line and ready for action, Tom Aspinall. But Aspinall isn't caught up in the hype around John Jones or big-name matchups. In a recent call-out, Tom made it clear he's not interested in chasing ghosts. He said, "I don't want to fight John Jones. I have no desire to fight anyone right now." He's focused on the fighters who want to step in the cage with him. No distractions, no drama, just straight-up competition.
John Jones is probably watching this, so send him a message. Hello, John. I have nothing against you personally, but I just think I'm better than you. I just know that I can beat you in a fight, so I'm coming for it.
That creates a fascinating dynamic. John Jones talks about facing legendary opponents and dream fights, but the fighter who's truly ready and waiting is Tom Aspinall, standing right there in the queue. Meanwhile, DC has stepped away. Brock is this wild card that's hard to control, and the fight game keeps moving forward. So despite all the talk about epic showdowns, John's challenge might not be the big names he's chasing, but the rising talents actually knocking on the door, eager to take him on.
How about this? I've got a novel idea for you. I'm retired. I'm done. I'm 46. I'm washed up. I'm a broadcaster. I'm a commentator. I am a talking head. How about this novel idea? Fight the dude that's actually wanting to fight. I don't want to fight John Jones. I have no desire to fight anyone. There could be a 25-pounder called me out to a fight and I'd be like, I don't really feel like doing that anymore. Those days are behind me. But how about fight the dude that's actually waiting to fight you? Tom Aspinall.
And while Daniel Cormier has firmly closed the door on any more battles with John Jones, saying he's retired and done with fighting, the chatter about John's next move hasn't died down. That's where Chael Sonnen steps in with a fresh take. Sonnen has been on the media circuit lately, and everyone keeps asking him about the elusive Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall fight. The buzz is that Jon is holding things up, refusing to face Tom. But Sonnen doesn't buy the hype. He says there's no real proof Jon's dodging the fight, just rumors flying around. He breaks down the situation, pointing out that Jon Jones is the undisputed champ, and Tom's the interim title holder, so traditionally these two should face off to unify the belts. But Sonnen calls out the weirdness of the current setup, where the UFC's rules around interim titles seem all over the place.
As we speak, but everywhere I go, and I'm with Daniel. But they keep asking about Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall, and everybody that has asked the question has prefaced it from a standpoint that Jon Jones is holding this fight up and that he's refusing to fight Tom Aspinall. Now, that may well be the truth. I'm just here to bring to you guys, we don't have that evidence. I mean, we do not have that evidence. Let me tell you what we have evidence of. Jon Jones is the undisputed champion. Let me tell you what we have evidence of. Tom Aspinall is the interim champion. Now, while we fiercely adhere to whatever rules we make up as we go, historically speaking, the interim champion fights the undisputed champion. Like an interim champion does mean one thing historically, which is you're the number one contender. And we're now in a discussion where that isn't true, where an interim championship might actually be defended.
And Chael doesn't buy the idea that Jon Jones has a bunch of options to dodge the fight with Tom Aspinall. He points out that while Tom has multiple fights lined up, Jon really only has two choices: fight Tom or don't fight at all. Calling out other names like Daniel Cormier or Brock Lesnar might sound tough, but it doesn't change the fact that Jon isn't in a position to walk away or pick and choose. Sonnen stresses that refusing fights isn't negotiating, it's unemployment, and even though Jon has done well financially, he hasn't made enough to just step away, so all the talk about fighting other opponents is just noise. The real option on the table is Tom Aspinall or no fight at all.
Tell you, I don't buy it. There isn't two options for Jon Jones. There is for Tom. In fact, for Tom, there's 3 and 4 and 5 options. Jon Jones will be offered a fight with Tom, or he cannot fight at all. And when you're a prize fighter, electing to not fight does not make you good at negotiating. It makes you unemployed. And Jon Jones has done great, but Jon Jones has not made walkaway money. He just simply isn't at a point in his life or career that he's going to be walking away. And when you understand, he only is given one option.
And while Chael's busy pointing out that Jon has nowhere to run except straight into a fight with Tom, Paddy Pimblett isn't holding back either. He recently brought up how Islam Makhachev, after defending his belt multiple times and even stepping up on short notice, was reportedly asked to vacate his lightweight title when aiming for a second belt. Paddy's take is that if that's the standard, then Jon Jones should be stripped too. He argued that Jon's absence can't be treated differently just because of his legacy. If Islam doesn't get special treatment after proving himself, then Jon shouldn't either, especially when Tom Aspinall is healthy, hungry, and holding the interim belt. Paddy believes it's time to stop waiting and start acting. Let Tom fight for the real thing.
I didn't think they'd make Islam vacate. But if you're making Islam vacate, Jones needs to be stripped. You know what I mean? If you're making Islam vacate after 4 defences, fighting people on short notice, you should let him try and be double champ.
And Paddy Pimblett isn't the only one calling it like he sees it. Even Ariel Helwani, someone who's been covering this sport for decades, didn't hold back. He recently addressed the controversy surrounding Jon Jones during an Instagram Live where Jon dismissed the idea that he was ducking Tom Aspinall. Jon, appearing relaxed and unfazed, told viewers that he's simply living his best life and questioned how that could be seen as ducking. But for Helwani, that line of thinking misses the point entirely. He pointed out that while it's great to see Jones enjoying his life and even taking part in a big money reality show in Russia with Nate Diaz, the issue isn't about Jon's lifestyle. It's about the belt, it's about the division, and more importantly, it's about opportunity.
Jon Jones' legacy is intact, and all the stuff he's saying has been this story that's been going on and on and on and on. But this one I could understand why it may have upset people, triggered people. Did you guys see on his IG Live, he was talking about the accusations that he is a duck, that he's ducking Tom Aspinall. This is what Jon Jones said earlier today.
I got people in the chat calling me a duck. Meanwhile, I'm living my absolute best life. I don't know if it's considered ducking when you're living good. I don't think
Ariel reminded fans and John himself that this sport is built on a time-honored tradition. When you're the champion, you defend your belt or you step aside. You don't hold up the division, while others, like Tom Aspinall, sit in their prime with no clarity and no shot at progressing their careers. Helwani highlighted that John didn't rise to greatness alone. Legends like Stephan Bonnar, Brandon Vera, and Shogun Rua gave him the fights that helped cement his legacy. Now it's John's turn to do the same for someone else. By keeping the belt without defending it, he's not just delaying a fight, he's robbing another fighter of the very same chance he once had. In Helwani's eyes, Jon Jones is ducking, not because he's afraid, but because he's choosing to prioritize his personal ventures over the responsibilities that come with holding a championship title. Ariel's message was simple. If Jon wants to continue living freely and enjoying new opportunities outside the octagon, that's totally fair. But then he needs to relinquish the belt, because as Helwani passionately put it, this isn't about Jon anymore. It's about the belt, the sport, and the next generation trying to build their own legacies. Defend or vacate. That's the bottom line.
It's not about you, Jon. It's not about you. It's not about your life. It's not about your story. If you want to enjoy your life, if you want to be a part of a reality show, if you want to take that money and delay things and hold someone else's dreams back from becoming a reality, that is ducking. That is ducking, because there is a time-honored tradition in this business, in the sport, in combat sports, in fight sports, in sports period, that the whole thing has to move along. It's not about your story. Your story is great and you're living your best life, great. Get rid of that belt. If you want to do that, great. No one will begrudge you. Everyone thinks you've done enough. You've earned enough. You've proven enough. Now allow someone else.
Jon Jones keeps saying he's not ducking, just living his best life, but he still talks about wanting to fight Brock Lesnar. Meanwhile, Tom Aspinall is stuck waiting with his career on pause. It's simple. Defend the belt or vacate it. You can't chase fantasy matchups while blocking real contenders. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Smash that like button and subscribe for more updates.